and welcome to another episode of Hitting the Field. I'm your host, and alongside with me is Connor Engelhart and Daniel Bird. It's Masters Week, and Augusta's ready to go for the 2016 Masters. Daniel, I'm going to start with you. What are the biggest storylines we're looking at coming into this week?
Well, I think the biggest storyline is you have Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, and Jason Day all bunched up, number 1 through 3, and who's really going to separate themselves in this major season. And I think, personally, it could be Jordan Spieth. I think he's been struggling this year, to be quite honest. I mean, last week at the Shell, Houston really had a difficult time of it, and we saw that frustration kind of come out uncharacteristically. I think he's going to use that motivation to really shoot a pretty low score to start off the Masters, and I think he can win it. I think it's a shot.
See, you're talking about them two being that one being the biggest storyline, but I have to go with the other two, actually, because Rory McIlroy is going for the Grand Slam finally, and Jason Day's won back-to-back tournaments. Can he keep up the hot streak? Can Rory McIlroy close out the Grand Slam? And then we're talking about those three, and we haven't even talked about Tiger Woods missing the Masters. Could that be the biggest storyline? Because I know you have your thing for Tiger Woods.
Yeah, interesting not to have Tiger Woods in the field this year, but that's what was expected. I want to go back to Jason Day and the Jordan Spieth conversation. Jason Day mentioned he was worried about Jordan Spieth and how much he's been playing recently, but we look at Jason Day, won 6 of his last 13 tournaments. How much does form matter coming into Augusta this Thursday?
I personally think it matters quite a bit. I think we saw Adam Scott kind of use his form to have a pretty good start to this season in 2016. And I think that Jason Day can't go out there and play well. Again, I think Spieth will use his motivation to play better, but I think you'd be shocked to not see Jason Day at the top of the leaderboard or in contention this week, I think. So I think, form it's a pretty big deal.
See, I always think form's important too, but it's the Masters. It's probably the most wide open year you've ever seen because we're not even talking about Bubba Watson, Ricky Fowler, Henrik Stenson. Adam Scott, he's been playing out of this world so far this season too, so really, I think any of the top 20 to 15 players have a good chance.
Yeah, I want to move on in the conversation. We'll come back to Bubba Watson, who's always been a favorite at the Masters. But, Connor, there's always players that are dark horses coming into this tournament and all the majors, really. There's always players coming from the outside that end up being there on Saturday and then early on Sunday. What are some of the players that we should look at coming into this weekend?
I think one person in particular is Troy Merritt. Now, he's not a big name in the golf world, but he just finished in 3rd place at the Arnold Palmer. He's in the top 10 in putting, and he's consistently hitting the ball in the fairway and hitting greens, which is key to Augusta. And also, you cannot 3-putt, which is what Merritt does. So I can see him in contention. I'm not saying he has really a chance to win, but I can see him finishing top 10 for sure.
Daniel.
Yeah, I feel like Troy Merritt, it's a solid dark horse pick, but I think, the Masters is one of those tournaments where you need to have experience. You need to have been there, taken your lumps. I don't think Troy has had that experience yet. I think he can contend, but I think he'll kind of be one of those people that kind of fall away on the back nine, as you always see at the Masters. My dark horse, I like Daniel Berger. 2nd year on tour. Top 5 last week. He made it to the match play this year. He's one of the top American players, young American players we have. I know Jordan Spieth gets a lot of the attention, obviously, and I'm not saying he's any Jordan Spieth, but I think he can definitely shoot some good scores and put himself in contention late, but it might be the same issue with Merritt. If you haven't been there, I don't know if you can get it done yet.
Right. Mm-hmm. And we look over at Dustin Johnson, and a guy who's always been in that Sunday round with the chance to win the U.S. Open. Never really been in contention on Sunday at the Masters, but just like Bubba Watson, he hits it longs and he tacks those par 5s. And I think probably that would be the most important thing coming into this weekend, 13, 15 on the back nine. After you get past Amen Corner, really getting some eagle putts. How much of a chance does Dustin Johnson have this weekend?
He has to go against all the big names as well, like he normally does. He has a chance, definitely, but really, you won't know until moving day on Saturday. And then the key is really that turn from 9 to 10 on the back nine on Sunday. If he's there, he still has a chance for sure. But then it's if he can score on those important holes like 13 and 15. You have to put scoring numbers down on the par 5s.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with his skill or his ability. We all know he can kill it off the tee, but I think it's the mental game at this point. If he finds himself tied or in the lead on the back nine at Augusta, is he going to think of Chambers Bay?
Exactly.
Is he going Whistling Straits? Is that all going to come back? And he has so much talent, and I think eventually you have to fall into a major with the amount of talent he has. He just has to get over that mental aspect of the game.
And I want to talk about the top 4. Connor, if it was for you, would you bet on the top 4 or the rest of the field?
I would bet on the top 4 probably. Even though the person who I'm going to pick to win isn't in the top 4, they have a better chance to win than anybody else.
Daniel.
You look at the talent in the top 4. I think it's pretty good betting money to go with the top 4.
I was going to be more difficult with you guys and make it Jordan Spieth or Jason Day or the rest of the field, because there was a time, Tiger Woods, it was him or the field.
Right,
so.
well, I think both of us are sitting up here saying, like, oh, we'll take the top 4, but I'm pretty sure both our picks are outside of the top 4 in the world. So, I mean, obviously, I can guarantee you the top 4 will be in contention on Sunday. I mean, I really do believe that, but I don't know if this is the year that any of them get it done.
Who's your pick, guys? Connor?
Oh, I'm going to go with Henrik Stenson. He's been really hot lately. Finished second last week at the Shell Houston Open, third at the Arnold Palmer, and he just has that ability to score on the scoring holes, and his putting this year has actually been really well. He's in the top 30, which, talking about Henrik Stenson, is a huge improvement. Right. So I can see him winning this tournament and getting his first major.
Daniel?
I like Charles Schwartzel. I think he's a Masters champ already. And the thing I like about him is he makes birdies, and when he's behind, he can make a move, and I think when you have a jammed up leaderboard, which I think is going to happen on Sunday on the back 9, he's already proven he can go out there and just tear the course apart. And I think he can repeat. Already has a win this year at the Valspar, and he's my pick.
Two surprising picks from both Daniel and Connor. I've got Adam Scott, a guy I picked 3 weeks ago, unlike these guys, keeping and changing their picks. We're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, Rachel White will join us on set, and we're going to talk about the start of the MLB season. Stay with us.
DC Comics brand new superhero collection. Oh no! Central City is under attack from Captain Cold. Luckily, the Flash is here to stop him. Captain Cold is no match for the Flash. The Green Arrow needs the Flash's help. The evil Deathstroke is trying to take over the city. The Green Arrow and Black Canary are here to stop him. Deathstroke is too strong to beat alone. With teamwork, they can defeat Deathstroke once and for all. Our heroes have saved the city. DC Comics Superhero Collection. Each figure sold separately.
Tonight on Deals After Dark. When I think of quality sunglasses, I think of boldness, but simplicity. And nothing provides both of those more than this set. Tonight, we have a pair of beautiful used matte black Oakley Holbrook sunglasses. These glasses offer an American frame accented with metal rivets and Oakley icons, perfect for buyers seeking performance and style. And do we have a deal for you guys tonight? For the next 40 seconds, that's right, 40 seconds, you have a chance to get your hands on this exclusive featured price of $110 or best offer. This deal, usually only available on Craigslist, could be yours for the 8 super easy payments of $13.75. Wow, I'm now hearing that we've actually gone down to one single pair. So if you're interested in this deal or any other products from our program, you can always log on to dealsafterdark.com or call us at 1-800-555-DEAL.
We are back on Hitting the Field. Rachel White now joins us on set, and we're talking about the NL Central and the start of the MLB 2016 regular season. Yesterday, the Pirates took down the Cardinals. Now, they started at the top of the division, but we're kind of looking at the Cardinals, the Cubs, and the Pirates. They kind of, at the end of the year, that's going to be jam-packed right there to finish coming in number 1 out of the NL Central. Rachel, I'm going to start with you. Who's your favorite coming out of that?
For me, it's definitely the Cubs. Obviously, they had one of the best seasons last season that they've had in a very long time. Chris Bryant, Rookie of the Year. Jake Arrieta, Cy Young of the Year. And we didn't really lose much. The Cubs didn't lose much. And they gained Ben Zobrist, and Jason Hayward took him away from the Cardinals. So I think that's definitely going to give them even more momentum going forward into the second year with Joe Madden. And there's a lot of excitement in Chicago, and a lot of experts are picking them to go really far. So I think that they're definitely going to be the team to beat, but I think it's going to be a really tight race between those 3 teams.
Yeah, leave it to the Illinois native to go with the Cubs, out of the Central. But I agree with Rachel. I think that the Cubs have so much talent on their roster. You look, their lineup is ridiculous. Now with Hayward, I think is a huge piece coming in the offseason. Their pitching rotation is really good. I don't think it's the best in baseball, but I mean it's going to keep you in series once you hit the playoffs. My only issue with it's baseball in general is you play 162 games, right? And you can have this great record, and then in a 5-game series, you drop 3 games, and you're out in the first round in the NLDS. So I think that, Cubs fans can be excited about this season, but you have to kind of, it's a long season just to get to the playoffs, and then once you get there, anything can happen. But I think the Cubs are the favorite out the Central.
I definitely agree, and with those 3 teams being so tight, obviously 2 of them could end up being wild card teams, and then you get 1 game and you
Right,
could be
yeah.
out. So it's very scary that they're playing in such a tough division, and really any one of those three teams could come out and instantly be a favorite to win the World Series. But it's a matter of who's going to be in that position at the end of the year, and really it's anybody's guess.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that the Pirates, come out and handle the Cardinals on opening day, because I mean that's the team. I think people forget. I mean, this is a good team. This is a team that has made the playoffs the last few years after being completely irrelevant. I mean, great pieces in their lineup, and they're by far what people think. I think the third best team in the Central behind the Cardinals and Cubs. So.
Yeah, well, I think it's so interesting that Joe Madden finally has a team that he can build around, right? You look at the infield, Rizzo, Bryant, and now Ben Zobrist, and adding that addition to Hayward out in the outfield, that only makes that lineup stronger. So I think the conversation with the Cubs is how powerful they are across the lineup and defensively how strong they are with that pitching rotation. Listen, I don't want to get too ahead of the game, but would we say Cubs really have a chance to win the World Series?
I mean, I think you have to. Yeah. The only thing that would hold them back is they are so young that this, again, like I think last year, making it to go up against the Mets, I think was beyond people's expectations of the team.
Yeah, they overachieved.
Right, and thank you. And I think that this year, I think people picking them to win the World Series still might be a little premature. I mean, you still got to give these guys a couple years. Again, it's baseball. Anything can happen. One team gets hot, and all of a sudden you're out, even if you're the best team in baseball.
Yeah, we talk about overachieving. We move over to the AL West and the Astros. In the start of the year, they had last year really the talk of the MLB for much of the year last year, and it's surrounded with young talent. Rachel, I'm going to start with you. How dangerous is this Astros team?
I think they're very, very scary. And I actually had a chance to go to their spring training earlier this year. And you wouldn't believe how crazy people are over Correa right now. Yeah. They will follow him around, and a bunch of people are picking him. He's only 21 years old, picking him for AL MVP over Trout. Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of a lot of pressure on such a young player. But honestly, he's extremely talented. And I think that the Astros have a chance at having another really good season.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the Astros in a second. But I want to talk about Trout and the Los Angeles Angels and the expectations they have. And they need to get back to the playoffs and really have a strong year because they've got the pieces all around that lineup. Is it starting to be at that point where we put all that pressure on Mike Trout to say, hey, you have to lead this team into the playoffs and maybe deep?
I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, with the talent and the money put into that team, you have to step up. But what I think is interesting is the last 5 years, it seems like, before this season, the talk has been the Angels, Mike Trout, Pujols coming over, their pitching rotation, Mike Scioscia. And no one's really talking about them a whole lot this season. Right. I think that could really help benefit them coming in now that they might not be the best team in the AL, or like I said, not even in their division with the Astros getting so much respect and attention. So I think they might be able to slide in, play some good baseball throughout the season. All you need is Albert Pujols to catch fire at the right time. Mike Trout is going to be on fire. You know that. So I think this is a year maybe where LA finally steps up and makes good on their promises, what their team has been promising.
Quickly, just to stay on this AL topic, at the end of the year, what's the best team coming out of the AL? Kansas City Royals? Is it the Astros? Is it going to end up being the Los Angeles Angels?
Right now, I think I would have to go with Kansas City just because of what they accomplished last year. Obviously, they were able to win an opening night. A little strange playing the Mets again, but I just think the Royals have all those pieces there to once again be the number one team.
Daniel.
I don't know why, but I think Houston finds a way to get it done, and I mean they have all the pieces they need, and I like Keuchel, leading that rotation.
It's an interesting topic talking about the expectations for the 2016 MLB regular season. We're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, Joshua Thicklin will join us on set. We're going to talk about the NBA season, D'Angelo Russell's story with the LA Lakers.
Experience the sea, art, lifestyle, travel. This is Seek to See More.
Welcome back to Hitting the Field. Joshua Thicklin now joins us on set, and we're talking about the state of the NBA and D'Angelo Russell. We all know the story after the week that turned out to be for the Los Angeles Lakers last week, but I want to talk about the future impact this could have on Russell. We talked about how young he is, 19 years old, and he makes a huge mistake, possibly that could haunt him for the rest of his career. Josh, do you think first it was fair to give him all the criticism that he received, and then secondly, how much do you think this impacts him moving forward?
I think whether we're deciding whether it's fair or not, maybe not. I think D'Angelo Russell just did this in the wrong era. Yeah. You know, if he did this in 2001, and there's no really social media for the backlash or the backlash to be so visible. I think his decision ultimately to record Nick Young, even though he said that's the thing that, you know, him and Nick does, you know, they play jokes and prank stuff like that, is that there's a certain point where you got to realize that that's not okay.
Yeah.
And I don't believe he leaked the tapes to TMZ, but like, the real question is like, who did? And I think, you know, when we think about like this, what some people may praise D'Angelo Russell. Well, D'Angelo Russell just exposing Nick Young as a cheater and stuff like that. Well, Nick Young's not going to be is not the first, and he definitely won't be the last person NBA baller to cheat on his fiance. All right.
Not that makes it okay.
Doesn't make it okay. Let's clarify. It does not make it okay, but it's not D'Angelo Russell's place to do it for that to come out. This may impact him because like later on the line, people are going to decide, his trust level with future teammates will be challenged. Yeah. Like, and that's just how it is. And in other, locker environments, this wouldn't be a positive situation in any way, shape, or form.
No, I think that the locker room is supposed to be a place where, you know, you're not under that like media scrutiny and all that, and you guys can just kind of talk and like bond together as a team. So the fact that, you know, he had his trust broken in that spot kind of is tricky because, I mean, would you want to play with D'Angelo Russell knowing that he did that? Yeah. I mean, obviously he's very young and it was, you know, obviously not the greatest decision and he knows that. Yeah. But still, it just kind of makes you always have that in the back of your mind, like, and maybe not have that trust there, which is something you're really going to need if he's going to be leading a team someday.
It's a compelling storyline, but I want to move back to basketball and the Warriors and how close they are to breaking the 95-96 Bulls record. Listen, they have a 50% chance, according to ESPN now, to get to those 73 wins, but they have the Spurs 2 more times. Rachel, I'm going to start with you. Do they break the record?
I don't think so. I think they tie the record. Yeah. It's just too tough of a schedule that they have left. They've got those 2 games against the Spurs, 2 against the Grizzlies. They'll probably win those, but the Spurs are just a team that's kind of had Golden State's number, and now that home winning streak has been, you know, snapped by the Celtics, I think they're going to tie the record, which is still an incredible feat, and I don't think anybody would lose any respect for them if they simply tie the record and didn't beat it. They still do have a solid chance of beating the record, but I think they probably end up tying it.
Josh?
I think hitting the 70-win threshold is in itself an accomplishment that normal teams in this day and age they didn't even think was possible. But I don't think they're going to get it. I don't think they're going to get the record. I'm with Rachel. I think they may tie it. But let's not sleep on. I think Memphis may sneak a win. Mm-hmm. may sneak a win as well. I think the real question is, how does it look if they get the record? Let's say they do get the record, but they don't win a title. Right. I think that's a better question. What do we look at them the same? And to me, I think that's way more important. As the Warriors, guaranteed, would you mind having 71 wins and it's an NBA title, or 73 wins or 73 or 74 wins, and no title to back it? It's similar to like the New England Patriots and like 08. Like, right.
I want to get quickly into a conversation about this Warriors defense, and we talked about how good they were at the beginning of the year, and really they're starting to lay off a little bit defensively. I know they're a fast-paced team who score a lot of points, so that makes them vulnerable on the other side to let allow points. Josh, are you worried about this defensive team at all?
I think my only struggle is Bogut. It all will depend on Bogut's health to me. I think when it comes down to the end of it, in the West, you're going to have a lot more big men that are going to press the issue. When they play against the San Antonio Spurs, possibly in the Western Conference Finals, who's going to be there to stop LaMarcus Aldridge and Tim Duncan? Draymond Green can't do both. So far this season, he hasn't been able to do either. Yeah. So I think that's a major factor.
Rachel, do they get out of the Western Conference in the finals?
I think they ultimately do. How much effort they'll have to put into getting past them and how much that's going to impact them possibly in the finals is definitely a question, but I think they have what it takes to get through.
There's a little bit over like a week left for the NBA regular season to see if the Warriors can break the 95-96 Bulls record. We're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, we're going to talk about the local Orlando City team and the 4-1 win they had yesterday against the Portland Timbers. Stay with us.
Central Florida is the perfect place to study, earn a degree, and of course, to enjoy everything that Central Florida has to offer.
From theme parks to dinner shows and, of course, the movies, Orlando offers many unique and exciting activities to do. However, we all know that a ticket to any of these attractions can be expensive, especially on a college student budget.
UCF Student Government Association has the nights covered with the SGA Ticket Center.
Located at the heart of campus inside Student Union, SGA Ticket Center offers tickets at a special discounted price to UCF students, faculty, and staff.
Not only do they have discounted tickets for theme parks, but they also have discounted tickets for other attractions like Blue Man Group, Pirates Dinner Adventure, and Kennedy Space Center.
Save your money and experience all Orlando has to offer.
For more information, you can visit their website.
Dangerous driving extends beyond just speeding, especially in the rain where light usage can be the most dangerous thing you do. This high-performance sports car might be able to handle tight corners in the rain, but if the driver can't see drivers around him, it just doesn't matter. Driving with your hazard lights on is illegal in the state of Florida, regardless of weather conditions. Hazard lights are only to be used while stopped on the side of the road. It makes it easier for emergency services to distinguish cars stopped on the shoulder. Not driving with your hazards on also makes turn signals clearly visible, along with brake lights. Increasing the visibility of your car in the rain will make your trips infinitely safer. And of course, remember that speed is the most important thing you can control while driving in severe weather. Speed and low grip are a deadly combination at any level of driver skill. For more information, visit your local Florida Department of Transportation office or the website shown below. Control the roads and enjoy the journey.
We are back on Hitting the Field, and we're talking about my favorite segment, football, this weekend with Ben Sanders and Troy Class. And I want to go back to the Clásico to start out. And before we touch on Orlando City, the impact that could have on Barcelona and Real Madrid coming into the week for Champions League. I'm going to start with you, Troy, and your Barcelona taking on Atletico Madrid. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, the impact that could have coming into this weekend. Are you worried about this Barcelona side?
You know what? I'm not really, honestly, because they just have to basically move on. I mean, it was a tough game, and they have to be prepared to face a similar style of play because Atletico is going to do almost the same thing that Real Madrid did on Saturday. They were very organized at the back. They were able to hit them really hard on the counterattack, which has always been a weak point for Barcelona. If any time you want to beat that team, that's where you're going to do it. And also the BBC, I think the attacking force that they showed yesterday, they outshined Messi, Suarez, and Neymar because they didn't have the same impact that they normally did. And I think when Suarez misses a sitter from, 6 yards out, I think that's when you have a sign that it's not going to be a great day in front of goal.
Ben, on the other side, looking at Real Madrid, how much can that boost their confidence?
Oh, it's got to. I mean, they're playing Wolfsburg in the week, so it's not like it's the hardest game in the world for them. There's just too much class difference. But beating a team that's, slaughtered you all year, there's a 10-point gap. There's at least a 10-point gap in between the two teams. And then you got players like Casemiro who put Iniesta and Rakitic in his back pocket the entire game. Yeah. Didn't see him the entire game. I mean, Sergio Ramos, the only, I guess, grievance is that he got another red card, the 19th of his career, and he really, if he's going to be the captain of that squad,
but what's a Clásico without a red card?
I know what's a Clásico without a red card, but he can't be doing that going through, if he gets a red card in Wolfsburg with people they have like Draxler, then they're going to be so exposed at the back, so he's got to stay on the field for them to have a good rest of the season.
Well, we even saw last year when they played Schalke, and they're always kind of in the mix in the Bundesliga, but like you said, just the class difference between Real Madrid and Wolfsburg in this case, it's just too much. It's too much for them to overcome.
I want to move over into the former Real Madrid star Kaká and the impact that he had coming back for Orlando City yesterday. 1 goal, 2 assists, and that lovely goal that he set up for Breck Shea, the second on the night for Orlando City. They came out strong. They proved it to Portland Timbers that they belong in this Eastern Conference. Guys, how good can this team be?
They can be probably, if not one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, the best team, because we saw, even Ben alluded to it a couple weeks ago, the spine of that team is one of the best, if not the best, in the league, because, we saw Seb Hines, Aurelian Kahn had great games, and the center midfield for Orlando City, last night, we saw it the most organized and the most dangerous that we saw it all year, and now Kevin Molino's back, he's got the goal, so he's going to get some confidence too, and you got to love having a player like Kevin Molino back as well, who's going to help you on the wings as well, and we're going to have some versatility as well. Adrian Winter, He's going to be playing out on the left end. It's going to be a really good season for Orlando City coming up.
It proved you don't need Kyle Lowry. This team, they like to have Kyle Lowry, and they want to have Kyle Lowry, but they don't need Kyle Lowry. Yeah. Like you've got, like you alluded to, you got Winter and Molina coming down the side. You got Rivas. You got Higuita and Seren with their late runs into the box. Kaká can play anywhere across the front floor. He can play right and left if you're really desperate. He can play. His center attack and mid role he's one of the best in the world at it still. And then you've got Laren, you've got Brian Roches coming back from injury. I mean, he's been on loan. Maybe we need to get another forward. I don't know. But if we keep banging in goals,
we got one in Julio Baptista.
Yeah,
So
if we keep
we'll
banging in goals, dude. If we keep banging in goals, but Breck Shea in one side, Ramos hitting the other. I mean, it's going to be a good season. The Eastern Conference better look out for this team.
I think the biggest problem in this team is selection. Alongside injuries, if we get away from injuries and assume that everyone's going to be healthy, listen, we haven't even seen Kaká and Laren for 90 minutes together. But we look at the midfield. We talked about how many signings there are with Nochedeño, Carrasco coming onto the field.
He didn't even play the other night.
Yeah, exactly. So this team could be stacked with position players in the middle of the field. Are we expecting for this team to make a late run into the MLS playoffs? This is something we talked about to start out the season. Expectations for Adrian Heath coming into the year.
They have to make the playoffs because, like you said, they have the squad to get into the playoffs. Like the midfield is probably one of the deepest again in the MLS, and if they're gonna take advantage of that, Adrian Heath, he's gonna love being able to shuffle players in and out of that lineup, and it's gonna work really well. And especially you're gonna be feeding guys like Julio Baptista and Kyle Laren. It's gonna be pretty good.
Ben, who's the X factor on this team?
The X factor for me, the X factor outside of Kyle Lowry and Kaká, of course, which have to be the X factor on a team like this, is for me it's Christian Higuita and Darwin Seren in the middle. Christian Higuita had at least of the 22 interceptions that were made, he had at least 8 of them, and then he'd just hit the play. He'd go right down the center of the field, stare the centre backs in the face, and then, with the good service either side, runners coming in, you got Adrian Binter coming in. I really like Christian Higuita, just 21, 22 years old. He's proved he's ready to play in a big league like the MLS. And if he keeps performing at that high level, we're not going to have any trouble holding teams like Portland off.
Yeah, and Joe Bendick even had a big save to end the first half for Orlando City yesterday. That's all the time we have on Hitting the Field today. Thank you for watching. I'm Eric Scott. Alongside me, joined Troy Klass and Ben Sanders. Have a wonderful day.